Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. I know that we're still in quarantine, at least this video that I'm filming right now is during our quarantine. So I hope you're comfortable at home. I hope everything is going well for you and your loved ones. In today's video, today's video will be a little bit different than others I've done, and I wanted to also make it a little bit more fun and actually include something that I found online which may be interesting to some of you. So if you'd like to see what I'm about to do, then you can stick around. Also, if you like any of the videos that I have done so far, if you find them informative, if you want to suggest something to me, or just share your opinion, you can do so in the comments below the video. And also I would appreciate if you give a thumbs up to this video or any other one that you've enjoyed. And if you'd like to support me, you can subscribe and also click on the bell. So in today's video, I actually will be reviewing these stencils. I bought them, I think, from maybe AliExpress, I would say, or maybe Amazon, either one. Let me just open them. So this is what they look like. There are 4 of them. The company is called Simple. I would say that they probably sell them in Amazon and also in AliExpress. So if you are interested, I actually have never used them, so I'm just gonna try them for the first time and give you my impressions on these products. On these stencils. Yeah, I don't know if you're the reason I actually thought this may be helpful is because I know that there are people out there who are just starting with makeup or still mastering their blending, and perhaps that may be a useful tool for some who are struggling in a way to blend the eyeshadow on their eyelids, or perhaps that they need some more support in that matter before they feel comfortable enough to do it on their own. So I've never tried this. I've struggled to blend my eyeshadows before, but practice makes perfect, so don't give up. We've all been there, but I just thought that this will be a fun thing to do and try to see whether this can be actually useful, and perhaps you can also see the result and decide whether or not you'd like to try something like that. And for today's experiment, so to say, I'll be using Dominique's Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. It's called Berries and Cream. I actually showed it to you in my I actually showed it in another video. This is what the palette looks like. It's really gorgeous. I'm just gonna get my face ready, and then we'll proceed to the actual portion where I will be using the stencils. Alright guys, so I just did my face. My eyebrows actually look kind of too thick and very hard to manage right now because they grew. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but they haven't been done, and I feel like I should do them myself, but I don't want to because I'm afraid that I may screw them up. So I decided to wait until the quarantine is over so I can go and get them threaded, which I usually do. But anyway, I am now going to start with before I start with the actual stencils, which we're here for, I'll show you what products I used on my face, in case you're interested and maybe want to try some of them or just use them as well. The first thing I used is this blur activator. It's infused with oil camellia. It's a primer, mineral primer by K Beauty, inspired by K Beauty, but the company is called Joa. This is what it looks like. I hope you can see it. I use two foundations. I use the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Long Wear Foundation, and the shade is 185. This is more for neutral toned skin. If you are someone like me with a little bit of warm tone skin, neutral tones, this may be a good fit for you. And I mixed it with Dior Forever. It's the shade is, where is this? Oh, the shade name number is 2WP, and it's a little bit darker, but it just isn't, a little bit of it is enough to mix when mixing both. So these are the two foundations I mixed, and this is the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover. It just gives enough coverage for my under eye area. I use these two shades, I just mixed them. The others will be a little too dark. Maybe this one will be fine, but it has to be mixed with a lighter one. But this one maybe for contour, but not for actually under the eye. And I used Huda Beauty's baking powder, Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder in Banana Bread. It's actually one of my favorite baking powders because it doesn't smell bad. You know, it doesn't have like you know, you don't smell chemicals or anything, and it also makes the skin really velvety. It's really an amazing powder. If you want or are looking for something new to try, I recommend this one. I also used one of my recent favorites, which is Fenty Beauty's bronzers, and the shade is called In the Sun, and this is what the shade looks like. It just gives enough color to refresh the skin. I used it as a contour. I did, because I didn't do any contouring prior to that with a stick, you know, with a creamier version. I just used the bronzer as a which you can do in general, and I think it's a fabulous shade because it I always was looking for something that matches with my skin, and I always would get somewhat, I would always pick a darker shade than my actual skin, and it would look kind of messy. But I'm really glad that this shade actually works out very well with my skin tone. And I know that even during the summertime, when your skin is more tanned, you have to switch the shades of your foundation and your bronzer and whatever else you may use in your routine. But I think that Fenty does have quite a bit of range of different shades of bronzers, as well as a very rich and also a very rich shade range of foundations you can choose from. You know, that's what they actually they're famous for. So if you like, you can definitely try this bronzer. I recommend it. It's really amazing. For my brows, I use the Brow Zincs Pro Palette by Benefit Cosmetics, and I'm just gonna show you what it looks like. This was also another gift from the goodie bag that we received at the masterclass. These are the shades inside. Last but not least, I used EM Cosmetics blush. The shade is called Soft Amethyst, and it's I really liked it actually. I applied a little bit too much, but it actually blended very well, and it just gives that rosy look, which isn't so much like, you know, to make you look clownish, but just it gives you enough color and freshness to your face. And this is what it looks like. That's the shade. Okay, so as a primer, I'm going to be using the P. Louis Base Pro. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this on my eyelids just a little bit. And I'm gonna just spread it. You can use also a brush, you don't have to use your finger, but whatever is comfortable to you. And of course, you'd like to set the base with some powder. I'm using the same baking powder I used earlier for my face. Okay, now that we're done with setting the base on our eyelids, I'm going to open one of the stencils. I feel like they're all the same, but just I guess, yeah, all the others are extras. So I'm just gonna open one pack and the rest I'm gonna keep for another time. All right, let's see what these stencils are about. Okay, so this is the little pack. These are all the stencils inside. Let's see what it says in the instructions. Okay, so it says number 1, light color painting. Okay, so that means there must be a step 1 stencil that will be for a lighter shade, I would assume. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so this is cool, natural, elegant. What is this too? Okay, so I'm a little bit confused because they're just numbers that say 3 and cool. So I'm assuming that this may be like for the bottom part, for this for that portion of the eye that is near the eyelash line, and this would be for the whatever, maybe the crease part. Okay, so there are different shapes also, so maybe you have to also figure out what eye maybe you have. All right, so this is step 1. Step 1 was actually here, right in front. Okay, so this is step 1, and I guess we have to put it here on the eye. Huh. Does this even look right? No, that's way too big for my eye. Just looking at it, like putting it. Oh my gosh, I don't know. This doesn't look right to me. Okay, maybe we have to figure something out. I don't know. I'm a little bit confused now. I don't know if this maybe means you have to pull down your eye, or maybe hold your, like raise your eyebrows, and let's see if that will work maybe. Okay, I see. Okay, but maybe this is like, okay, if this is step 1, we're gonna go with it, because that's step 1. Oh my gosh. This now looks very, very fun, but I hope ultimately we're not gonna go into a wrong direction with these stencils. Okay, so I'm gonna open the eyeshadow palette, which is again by Dominic Cosmetics. All right, so fluffy brush that we're gonna try to apply the first shade, which should be light according to the pictures here in this little manual. So it says that it's light painting. Close an eye to align their outer corners of the eyes and big eyes. Eyeshadow brush, large Point Light Colors eyeshadow model, the outer corner of the eye, and big canvas today to adjust the brush. Beautifully finished makeup. Okay. All right, so we're going to just apply a light shade. Yeah. That's enough. That's enough to say it, to sum up all of this text that I just read. Anyway, okay, so we're grabbing this and putting it like this. Let's see if it's gonna fit or not. Oh my gosh. I think it's supposed to touch my eyes like this, I think. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna use the shade Sweet Cream as a starter of this challenge, and I'm just gonna apply it like this. And I don't have a mirror, so I'm just looking at the camera where I'm applying this shade. I don't know. I mean, at least it's a light shade, so even if it's something, you know, that you may be suspicious about, that this stencil may not be working properly, at least it's a light shade. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Okay. Okay, let's see. It's fine. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, you can kind of see that line right here, which means that you need to buff it out afterwards because it will look too, yeah, it won't look blended. Otherwise, I think it's all right so far as a starter. So we're just gonna keep going. I'm gonna use the same stencil, but this time on this eye, on my right eye, and I'm gonna use Sweet Cream again on this lid. By the way, this the eyeshadow is actually it picks up the color, but it's also very powdery, so there's also fallouts, and I need to grab more of it to reapply on my eyelid, so it's enough and so I can see the shade, or maybe something that is not as, you know, proportionate to the other eye. Oh my gosh, this looks kind of like a kitty eye. Okay. Wow. Yeah, a little bit more blending on your end is necessary for this, so you don't have harsh lines. But I think overall, as a starter, it's okay. It's not like bad, but it's okay, I think. Yeah, it looks fine. But I also see here at this inner corner that some of this stencil got imprinted a little bit, so I'm trying to blend and make that line disappear. So hopefully it disappears in a few minutes because of the pressure. When you put pressure on it, it kind of stamps a little bit of a line. But definitely this shade that I just used from the palette is pretty powdery, and you have to dab all over it. As you saw me, I had to do several dabs in the pan in order to get the most out of the shade. Let's do the second stencil. So I'm just removing this little thing carefully, If you want, you can also use scissors if you feel uncomfortable, but for the most part there's no issue removing this on its own. Let's see what it says for the middle color painting. Okay, it says light color and use the same alignment of the outer corner of the eye. Enlarge eyes, eyeshadow brush small, in parentheses, daub, the way it's written is DAUB, intermediate color, facing the eyelids at the inner side of the outer side of the brush from the sliding of the words can be beautifully finished. Okay. Okay. I think I need to learn this kind of language. I don't know what it really means, but I'll try to interpret. It says light color, but we already used a light color in the first part with the first stencil, so I'm assuming it has to be a little bit of a darker shade. I'm gonna do a different shade, which is darker, and that will be the shade Toasted. Okay, so let's see. I think this one will work better. Oh, this is kind of hard to put. I'm trying to make sure that I have it right. Okay, so let's see Toasted. And notice I'm using another smaller fluff brush to apply the shade. I don't know, maybe it may be a little bit different if you use maybe a different brush that is more flat. I don't know really, but nonetheless, we're gonna see what's gonna happen at the end. Oh my gosh, it's a little bit difficult to hold this. Oh, wow, okay. What is this? Gosh. I mean, I'm confused right now. I mean, I kind of have a double lid. As you can see, this kind of is, you know, making my eye a little bit hooded, but I don't know. I don't even apply this like that. I don't know about you guys, but let me know in the comments if you apply your like this your eyeshadow, or yeah, or if you've ever done it. I personally have never done it like that. Oh my gosh. This looks so funny. All right, I'm gonna get another brush to try to make the transition more smoother. And this is a bigger, fluffier brush to buff these edges right here. And let's see what happens. It looks better now when I buffed it with the fluffier brush. If you do use this kind of stencil, you do have to do a little bit of work on your own to make the transitional color blend well. Okay, I'm doing the same shade called Toasted, and let's make sure that it's adjusted correctly, and we start to apply. Okay, all right. Let's see how this eye came out. Okay, I think that there are also quite a bit of lines that they stenciled leaves, so that, you know, I know that they will disappear at some point, but I feel like it's also taking off a little bit of my own makeup. Well, actually, not quite. It's not as dirty, but I feel like it's impacting my makeup here. Probably the best way to do it is if you don't apply your foundation first, but rather do it at the end, so you don't have these lines, or you don't have this fear that your makeup will get ruined in any way. I mean, they disappeared quite fairly quick, but you can tell that the eye was, you know, had something. This on this one, so we don't have any harsh transitioning between the two shades that we applied. Okay, instruction number 3. Paint in dark colors. Paint it in dark colors. Align the outside corner of the eye and the corner of the eye point. Use eyeshadow model. Remove eye chip from the outer corner of the eye of aspect oriented big canvas with dark color eyeshadow color chip smear. Okay, I guess they just mean that we have to use dark shade. Now it's time to do that. Okay, so that's step 3. Okay, so we have a choice either to make it cool or elegant. Let's go for elegant this time and see what happens. And we need to just remove that portion of the stencil. Okay, at least. Okay, so now we gotta do the dark shade. Chocolate mousse and blackberry. Okay, so chocolate mousse and blackberry mixed together. Okay. Maybe that became a little too dark. We'll have to do something about it afterwards. Okay, let's see the surprise. Oh my gosh, I just want to erase all of this and start over. This is actually the elegant. I don't know what the cool one will be. Maybe even worse. Or let's see. Or maybe I should do. Oh my gosh. So this is the elegant stencil. I am so lost right now. I don't know if this is supposed to be a smoky eye, which I did not plan to have. I'm totally confused, guys. This is not really going well. Okay, so I'm just going to try to buff this and lighten this color that I just put on my eyelid, and just try to save the day somehow. But I don't think I'll do the same thing on my other eyelid. I don't want to look so yeah, so ridiculous. Yeah, that's a little better. I basically used the brush that I dabbed earlier in this lighter shade, the lightest shade of all. Yeah, maybe that was just an unplanned smoky eye that just went wrong, so wrong. The last step says makeup and lower eyelids. Half-tone color occupy the outer corner of the eye area of 1/3 with a deep tone color slightly smear on the eyeshadow. For the residual 2/3, put on the light color words under the eyes become bright and gorgeous. In order to make the beautiful meet, rubbing the side finishing balance. So that means lighter shade here and then transitioning to a dark. I think that's what they probably mean. we're gonna do it that way, but at least we know that this last part at least sounds better. Underneath the eye, a little darkness, a little definition, like this. And we're gonna transition it to the lighter shade. Okay, so this is the darker shade that I just applied under my eyes, and now we have to transition into the light. Okay, I'm gonna use something sparkly called Sugar Cookie and just tap away the excess amount. And because I want to make something extra, I'm just gonna put a little bit of pop of color at the corners of my eye, and I'm gonna use the shade Bittersweet and Cranberry mixed together, and I'm just gonna apply it right here at the corner of the eye. Okay, so this is the look that I created. I'm just gonna apply quickly mascara, and then we're gonna talk about everything that just happened. Alright guys, so here's our final look. I actually decided to apply eyeliner after all. I used the matte signature eyeliner. Trace your... Oh, I'm sorry. This is actually the French part that says the tracer for eyes. Anyway, so this is what it looks like. And I also used one of my favorite mascaras now that I'm super obsessed with, Superhero by It Cosmetics. As you can see, I mean, I don't have any falsies and my eyelashes look like incredible. Anyway, so what I have to say, first of all, this palette, it's great. There is pigment, obviously you can see, but I did not like the fact that I had to dab so many times into the pans to get the most out of the pigment, and that's a little bit of a negative. I mean, first of all, there's so much fallout, and despite that, I mean, there's still some pigment left on the actual as you can see, this is pretty dark, but still the fact that there's so much fallout and you're constantly dabbing, the fact that there's so much fallout, it's not that great in my opinion. And I think that this can be improved, and perhaps maybe some of the newer palettes may have improved formulas, but overall it's a good palette. I can't say that it's not great. I like the shade range. I like that this can go with pretty much every eye color. But let's get now to the actual discussion about the stencils. So first of all, I think the translation is one of the most interesting ones I've ever read. I don't know. I mean, you definitely can't understand what really you should be doing unless you kind of put your mind, and if you do makeup for some time, you will know what some of the steps are, so you can kind of translate in your mind what they're actually trying to tell you. I honestly thought that maybe some of these stencils are for different shapes, but I think they're not for sure, because this is everything that there is. They're a pretty decent support for how you can get started applying your eyeshadow. However, you do need to have you know, you need to have brushes to buff out the edges, so the shades do blend properly, and you don't have any harsh lines or anything that will look really unblended and just stand out as a stain basically on your eye. You don't want that, because it definitely doesn't look nice when someone looks at you. And even you should be the judge of your own work and decide, does this even look good? Is it right? But overall, for other techniques, these stencils do not work. I did not like how they were leaving these lines here and here earlier. I mean, by now they're gone. I don't see them, but maybe it's better to first use and apply the eyeshadows with the stencils first, and then apply your foundation and everything else. Otherwise, you risk maybe your you know, your concealer, foundation, and everything else you have to be maybe touched, or you know, you risk it getting messy. So that's just my observation on how to avoid that. And overall, you just need to make sure that everything else is buffed and blended correctly. And but obviously, if you try to follow the instructions, it will be very difficult. Just use your knowledge, I guess, or just try to use the stencils on your own preference. I think it's a decent guide to have some sort of stencils that will make you feel comfortable, and as to how to blend the eyeshadows based on the steps of each stencil. So in that regard, they're okay. But for other techniques, you definitely need to practice and try to become more comfortable using your brushes and blending them on your eyelids, and also considering also your eye shape, if it's small, if you have hooded eye, almond type of shape, whatever it is. So I hope that this video was helpful to you guys, and I hope that you have an amazing week or weekend, whatever you may be doing. And I hope that we get out stronger, healthier, and wiser out of this quarantine. Or I hope that if you're watching this in the future, that you're well and your family is well. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did and learned something from it. And of course, if you liked it, you can give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel for more videos. And I'll see you next time. Bye.